Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again before our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. We're glad that you all could be with us. Also tuning into our online affiliates around the world, including our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. We got you all could be with us as well. It's actually been 2 years since Mary Alice Monroe has joined us here on Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome her back to talk about her extraordinary career and the brand new book that's out this week, Search for Treasure, as part of the Islanders series. If you guys are not staying connected with Mary Alice, we'll remind you how you can do that. But Mary Alice, thank you again for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I love coming back. And a shout out to Lemuria Bookstore out there.
Oh, what a great bookstore, and thank you so much for that.
It
Going to
is.
appreciate that as well. I want to talk about this journey for you, because you've been able to do what authors dream of, Mary Alice, and that is to write for audiences of different ages and groups. What has that been like for you to see how expansive your readership is?
Honestly, it's been a blessing. I was a surprise as well. I knew after 20 years of writing for adults, when I was asked to write for middle grade, which is about ages 6 to 12, I said absolutely, because this is the future. These kids, I had a lot to say to. Not only that, but these kids really have a lot of enthusiasm, almost cocky enthusiasm, about being able to have a great future. And today, they need that enthusiasm. So I was a little trepidatious, but I approached it academically. I read every book I could get my hand on. I talked to experts, and I just had the voice for it. I mean, it came easily, which was a surprise. So I wrote a series for kids that mirrors what I did for all the adult books that I've written for 20-some years, to bring the wildlife and to bring the outside world alive for them so that they want to go out and get to know the animals.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you said that, Mary Alice, because I think the thing about Search for Treasure, and I think readers will appreciate this, is that you do have all the biggies that we as adults kind of grapple with, but also young people do as well, family and friendship, that sense of discovery. And as you mentioned, that curiosity that sometimes loses us as adults, we see that in Search for Treasure. Was it also part of the fun for you, the fact that these were characters like Jake who were not afraid of seeking out adventure?
Well, I'm so glad you brought up the fear factor. Fear is really the number one reason why kids, as well as adults, are afraid to go out off the beaten path. What is that bug? What is that snake? I'm going to get bit by something. And what I hope I'm teaching in Search for Treasure, as well as Islanders, and as well as all my adult books, is I encourage in this book two things. One is to turn off the computers and unscreen, unplug, and get outdoors. And by going outdoors with an adult, and I did this with my own kids, you have a journal, your little composition notebook you buy at CVS, whatever. You just get a little piece of paper, and you identify what it is you don't know. What's the name of that tree? What's the name of that shrub? What's the name of that bug? What's that big brown bird in the sky? You come home, and you identify it. You can use Google, or you can use Peterson's, or whatever source you want. Find the name and learn about the animals and the trees that surround you. Once you do that, you're no longer afraid of what is wild. It becomes your backyard, and you go out and you learn to explore without the fear. So I had a blast doing it with my own children when they were being raised, and I wrote this book for my grandchildren and for your children and grandchildren so that they can have the same experience my kids did.
Mary Alice, what is it that keeps you from letting fear stop you? And I ask you that because, as you mentioned, you've had such a successful career writing for adults. What is it that made you not be afraid of something new and challenging?
I think it's the sense of awe and wonder. I always say nature makes children of us all, and it's really true. I've always kept that wonder and curiosity about some new species. And so every book I've written, it's not been because I had a story idea, it's because I had a species. And for these kids, it wasn't just a species, it was love of adventure, love of fun outdoors. My best summer memories are being outdoors and playing. I don't remember sitting in the basement watching TV. I remember going outside, and I bet you do too. So our kids are making their memories right now. And it's really our challenge to help them not be bored outside, because they're going to tell you there's nothing to do. It's boring. Our challenge is to say, hey, it's really fun. And that's why the book is saying, through adventure, through inspiration, hey, it's fun out there. Look what Jake is doing. Look at little Lovey. They're having a blast.
Love that, love that. For those who are just tuning in, you're listening to Conversations Live. Excited to welcome back New York Times bestselling author Mary Alice Monroe to our program. We're talking to her about her extraordinary career, but also about the brand new book out this week, Search for Treasure. It's the new book in the Islanders series. Last thing I want to ask you about Mary Alice, and that comes up in the book, is about friendship. And we see that come through as these characters are navigating their lives, dealing with issues at home or out in the world. What has that been like for you to explore, the power of friendship and the connections that can come from friendship?
Well, that's the treasure that the kids find in Search for Treasure, despite the fact that they're looking for Blackbeard's gold, like every kid along the southeastern coast. They really find out that their friendship matters. And these are three kids. I really went for diversity, where they might not have been friends if they had not met on this remote island. There's Jake, who's an Army child, moved around a lot. Macon's an African-American from a wealthier family of lawyers in Atlanta, and little Lovey is a low-country girl. But they come together, and they realize that even though they're different from different locations, different places, different economics, different sexes, different race, they have a bond together. And children don't need a lot of friends, especially in middle grade. They need one or two true friends.
Yeah, such a great point. And we thank you so much for exploring that in this book. It's already a #1 new release on Amazon.com. If you guys have not gone ahead and snatched it up for yourself, you definitely need to make sure you do that. Again, everyone, Search for Treasure is the book. Mary Alice Monroe has been our guest. Mary Alice, how can our audience stay connected with you?
Go to MaryAliceMonroe.com. There'll be a lot of pictures for you and your young'uns, your young readers, about to be silent, all the animals they find, including Big Al, the big alligator. So the kids will enjoy reading the book and then seeing the pictures.
Mary Alice, thank you again for the time and for another great book, and looking forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. And hello to them. Show them Myria Books has the books.
Exactly. Of course. And we definitely invite our audience locally to get it from there. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying always enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.